Welcome to our 76 Capital Leadership Series. My name is Wayne Kimmel, your host and also managing partner of 76 Capital. I'm really excited for today's show. We have a really great guest in Detlef Schrempf, who played 16 years in the NBA and is doing some great things off the court as well. You could see Detlef's Twitter page right there. Follow Detlef at @dschrempf, and you can find out all the things that he's doing today, as well as some of the amazing things that he's done throughout his career. We'll be talking about all of those things here on our 76 Capital Leadership Series. And as you know, you can follow me at Wayne Kimmel. You can follow 76 Capital on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram, as well as subscribe on our YouTube channel. But what we do on 76 Capital Leadership Series is all about bringing together leaders in the industry, whether that's from the sports industry, who are incredible executives in this industry, entrepreneurs who are doing the next thing, as well as current and former athletes, talking about their view on the business side of sports, as well as talking about different social issues and the things that are going on in the world today, and quite frankly, how we can just make this world a better place together and bring together the world. And that's what we're all about here at 76 Capital, finding those great entrepreneurs, looking to invest in them, build their businesses, and do the right thing and truly make this world a better place. So let's get started on this 76 Capital Leadership Series. I want to bring on our special guest, Detlef Schrempf. Detlef, thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me, Wayne. Appreciate it.
Yeah, really excited to have you on the show. And as I was saying, before we got on starting taping the show, the last time we saw each other was in July of last year in Las Vegas during the NBA Summer League, and the world was normal. And now here we are.
Yeah, it's definitely been a big change, I think, for everybody. I really can't complain. I'm fortunate enough to have a job. I'm fortunate enough that my family is well, and it's just a different world, and trying to adjust to it and trying to figure out how we get through this.
Well, so happy to hear things are going well for you and your family, and that's what it's all about during these times, as we work to get through all the things that are going on. And you've had an amazing career, an amazing life, and love to hear. One of the things that we do on our 76 Capital Leadership Series is love to sort of look into and hear about the backstory. So many people here in the U.S. and around the world know you grew up in Germany, but would love to hear your path and what it was like playing and just growing up in Germany, and then coming over here to America.
Oh, wow. You're going way back. Well, it's, I think I've been luckier than most, that like most German kids, I grew up playing soccer every day, different teams, and I really enjoyed it. I was just a decent player, but I started growing when I was 11, 12, and started getting taller and lankier, and literally by accident found basketball at about age 13 in a high school program, and just took to it, and I think it really saved me because I got addicted to it. I was not a good teenager, and by age 16, I was in all kinds of trouble, but basketball kind of saved me, and I decided to go to the States as an exchange student for 1 year. Kind of ended up in the state of Washington by accident again, or I would say luck, that I went to a small school with a great coach, and everything fell into place. Yeah, Centralia Tigers, Coach Brown coached there for 52 years. He just retired recently. And it was just one of those things where you kind of thought you were going somewhere else, and that was my backup, and I ended up with a great coach, a great system, in a wonderful state, and got lucky, and was like the last guy to be recruited for the University of Washington, kind of like, well, hey, we got one scholarship available because some kid is ineligible if you want it. And that's really the only choice I had, and I gave it a try and went to UW, and and the rest is written in history, that I ended up having a pretty good career at the UW and ended up playing in the NBA. So I was just very fortunate and lucky in many parts of my life of where I ended up.
It's really an amazing story. I mean, you talk about your coach from high school, and was he the one that really helped you turn you into such a great shooter, or where did the shooting part come from?
Well, I think first I had to credit my coach back in Germany. He was one of the first forward-thinking guys in Germany. Our youth team was, we were doing plyometrics at 15 years old, where nobody in the world was lifting weights playing basketball. We were doing all these different things, and he really, helped me kind of figure out my path in life, figure out my passion, and I was just lucky to start out that way. Then coming to Centralia with Coach Brown, who was, the old school, everyone does the same thing. You got to know all positions. You got to dribble, shoot, and pass, and you play as a team. And that really fit my style. I don't think I became a great shooter until I went into the pros, because in college, even my idea of scoring was getting to the basket. We didn't have a 3-point line, so you wanted to get to the basket and get fouled and get to the free throw line, and that's what we were taught. And not really till I went into the pros, I focused more on using that outside shot as a threat and being able to do the other things I wanted to do.
Yeah, I mean, certainly I'd love to, you see how the game has changed totally. I mean, I have my 16-year-old and he talks to me, he's like, there's no mid-range game anymore. I mean, you see that and it's just like, it's the three or it's take it to the basket, right? I mean, it's amazing to see how the game's changed so much.
Yeah, it has and it hasn't. Obviously, it's a little bit more open. The analytics came into play and figuring out, do you shoot a 3 or do you shoot a 2 or what do you do here? And, but I think still the players that are really effective still, make that 15-footer, get into the lane and don't get quite to the basket, shoot floaters and things like that. I understand the math of it. If you can't make a 10-footer and you're shooting, less than 40% from there and you're shooting 30% from threes, you might as well shoot threes. There's math behind it. But at the same time, the good players still do all those things. They can shoot the threes, they can get to the basket, they shoot the in-between. So, it's a great game. It always evolves, and you just got to go with it.
Well, certainly there weren't as many floaters back in the day as there are today, right? I mean,
no, I think they're just different. I shot some, we shot some. There were a lot more finger rolls back then than there are nowadays. I don't see many guys finger rolling, but floater is a great in-between shot that every kid should have, because most of them can't get to the rim and dunk on somebody. So you got to have that in your game.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're really excited to have Detlef Schrempf on our 76 Capital Leadership Series. Sharing with us his story and his path into the NBA, and we're going to go beyond. But Detlef, you were all Pac-10 player and an All-American in college at Washington, and then you were selected in the I believe the 8th pick. There you go. I love the Tux, right? As the 8th pick by the Dallas Mavericks. And what was it like, getting selected in the top 10 in the NBA draft?
Oh, it was interesting because I think I met with most of the teams in the top 10 except number 1, which was New York, took Patrick Ewing. And I got confirmation from a couple teams that would take me at an earlier spot. And that didn't happen. And the team that I did not talk to at all in the top 10 was Dallas. And they picked me at 8. And I didn't even know, back then there was no really internet access, and you didn't really, you read some magazines and maybe, some info on teams. I didn't know anything about the team. And so they asked me, hey, how excited are you about going to Dallas? And I go, I have no idea who's there, so I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to it, and so it was a little bit of a shock. And then I get there, and these are the old times, so they didn't make rookies comfortable. So I actually got there, and the general manager was like, yeah, we draft him because he's best available talent at that number. We don't really need him. We got all-stars at his positions. So I'm going, oh, this is great. Welcome to Dallas. So it was a different world back then.
And so you were in Dallas and then went to Indiana afterwards, right?
Yes.
And who are some of the different, who are some of the players, just for people to get a feel for it? Who are some of the guys that you played with in Indiana, and talk about your time there?
Yeah, I mean, I went from a pretty competitive Dallas team. We made the Western Conference Finals my second year. I lost to the Lakers in 7 games. We had a pretty good scoring, a really good offensive team with Mark Aguirre and Derek Harper, Orlando Blackman. And I was kind of like filling in, different positions as backups. And then then they had all kinds of internal issues and kind of busted up the team. We had Roy Tarpley, who unfortunately got into drugs, and they had all kinds of stuff going on with Mark Aguirre. So they made some trades, and all of a sudden I was playing. I was like all excited, I was starting, and then literally 3 games later I get traded. And so my first 3 years in the league were in the playoffs, and I got traded to the Indiana Pacers, and I look at their record, and they're 11-27. And I'm going, I guess the vacation is set for April 24th, So it was a different deal. But we, I got there, and it was a young team: Reggie Miller, Rick Smits, Chuck Person. And we actually turned around. We finished the season like 17-13 or something, or whatever it was. Finished really positively, and then next few years we made the playoffs every year. Unfortunately, we were run into the end of the Boston Celtic years, the Pistons and Chicago Bulls. But we were a young, good team, and had a lot of fun in Indiana.
Yeah, I mean, playing it's a heck of a bunch of guys that you got a chance to play with. And I mean, what was it like playing with Reggie?
Oh, Reggie was great. We worked out together all the time, shot together. He truly loved the game, and I think it's always fun when you have teammates that could play all day, that want to play, that want to compete. Everything we did was, shooting drills, everything was competition. So it was great to play with him those years. And he was young learning, I was young learning, and it was a great experience.
That's tremendous. I mean, both of you are just such tremendous shooters in the NBA. And then after the Pacers, you went over to the Seattle SuperSonics and had some really incredible success there, and played with some really good people as well.
Yeah, I was fortunate to get traded. Well, fortunate, I didn't know I was going to get traded, but I got fortunate to get traded back home to Seattle, where we had a house. It just happened that we had a great stretch of 5 years where we averaged over 60 wins a season. Key Arena was sold out every night. It was the loudest place in the league. It was a phenomenal time to play basketball in Seattle, and we won a lot. And it was always entertaining, and playing with Gary Payton, and Shawn Kemp, and Sam Perkins and Nate McMillan. We had a great team, and we had a lot of fun. It was competitive. It was a lot of talking. It was good times, and I think people in Seattle miss that stretch where we were so competitive for so many years.
Yeah, I mean, you guys had a heck of a run there, and what a tough team, and people weren't. I just remember hearing, and reading about the fact that teams just did not want to go to Seattle and play you guys. It was a really tough place to play.
Yeah, we saw it a lot where teams were scared in the first quarter because we didn't play a conventional defense. We literally took people out of what they wanted to run. We just trapped and rotated. Anybody guarded anybody. And so it made teams uncomfortable because they couldn't run their sets. They had to improvise, and players would have to take over. And we usually try to push the ball into somebody's hands that didn't want to, have the ball. So it was a fun way to play. It was exhausting because you're running around the whole time, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, and you had some great battles with the Bull and the same teams. So you were just saying before with the Indiana Pacers. I mean, you had some great battles with the Bulls over the years, and the Lakers and others that were really excellent players. I mean, you have great shot here of you, and there's Hersey Hawkins and Gary Payton and Shawn Kemp, and there's Rodman behind you and Jordan. I mean, those were some amazing games.
Yeah, it was, unfortunately we didn't win the finals, but we had some great years, and it was like great time, like I said, for basketball in Seattle, and hopefully we get it back somewhere down the line.
Well, it's one of the things that we do on our 76 Capital Leadership Series, certainly with such great athletes and players like you. And while you're playing, did you think about the business side of sports at all while you were playing? Did you get a chance to meet with different business leaders or owners of some of the teams that you got to play on? Did you spend any time with them while you were playing?
I think I was like most athletes that were, I had my shutters on for the first few years, because, you're in the stage of life where, I think not just athletes, anybody, you, a business person, anybody, where you want to scale, right? You come out of school, you want to get a job, you want to get a better job, you want to make more money, you want to get paid more, you have your family, you want to get out of the apartment, get a house, get a bigger house, get a second car. I think people in general are conditioned to trying to get more. And I don't know if that's the right way to go, but, as an athlete, you do the same thing. I want to play more. I want the ball more. I want to shoot more. I want a bigger contract. So, I think that's where we were all heading. And I had shutters on for a long time until I realized, wait a minute, I'm 32 years old. How long am I going to play? And you kind of think, well, I feel pretty good. I think I'm play till I'm 60, but it just doesn't happen. So I got involved with some real estate funds in my 30s, try to understand a little bit of it. And I was fortunate enough that I loved reading. So I always read books. When, guys on planes sleeping or playing cards, I usually read books, and from all different, topics, from biographies to just, if I want to read something just to put me to sleep, or just to entertain me, or actually educate me. So I read a lot of different books, and so I got into real estate funds. And then when I retired, in my last few years, again, I'm fortunate to live in a neighborhood in Seattle and Bellevue, where my neighbors are Microsoft executives and Starbucks executives, and we are sitting in bleachers with our kids watching sports and doing all those things. So you start paying attention, and you sit around having barbecues with the families, and you start brainstorming about, well, what's next in life. So for me, it was, what do I bring to the table after basketball? What can I do? Literally don't really have an education. When you think about it, I went to school in the 80s, and 16 years later, it's 2001. And I would have to start over, so I go, okay, do I want to go to school and, get a degree in something that makes sense, or what do I bring to the table? So I start brainstorming with people of, what I'm good at, and how I can help somebody, a company, and what I would like to do going forward, because I sure can't sit at home with little kids, and think that playing Xbox with their dad is going to be what life is all about.
Absolutely. I mean, it's amazing. I was going to ask you that question about the fact that you were in Seattle. You're so close to Microsoft. You're close to where Starbucks was founded, and just if you had different, how you were able to develop relationships with individuals during that time, and and how that all came together. I mean, was it literally that you were at games with your kids, or were some of these people, did they go to games, or did you seek them out? Because now with the things that you're doing, it seems like you've been able to really capitalize on those incredible relationships that you've built over the years.
I think it was a combination of all. Again, back then, when you think about it, 2000, social media wasn't really around. You're not going to hit somebody up on LinkedIn and say, hey, you want to grab a cup of coffee and talk about the future. It was more literally being in neighborhoods, going to charity events. I had a foundation for 25 years, and a lot of people came through there. A lot of people supported us, a lot of executives. You get to know, once I retired, from basketball, you seem to have a little bit more of a social life. So more, charity events, more barbecues, neighborhood events, more golf outings, things like that. And again, fortunate to live in a community that is, so engaged in so many different companies, from, like you said, Microsoft, Starbucks, Amazon, now we have everyone, every tech company in the world is here now, pharmaceutical companies, biopharma, all those things. So you have a lot going on. And again, and I had a name recognition, so it's pretty easy to get to know people and at least talk to them. And that's how I kind of started out, and I figured out, okay, what do I bring to the table? And it was, okay, let's do a venture fund, where we bring some athletes and some business people together and provide some access to some unique opportunities. And I didn't really know the business side of it. I just kind of knew the raising capital, opening doors, and networking side of it.
So maybe talk a little bit more about that. I mean, and before we get to that, I'll just, remind people that you're here, you're watching our 76 Capital Leadership Series. We have Detlef Schrempf, who played 16 years in the NBA, and that's not it. This is way more to Det and to Detlef and his career than just playing in the NBA. Is doing amazing things off the court now, and just as an NBA veteran, as someone who was an all-star, and you think about today's players, are there things that you recommend to them? As you said, you got to focus obviously on the court. You got to focus on getting your next contract and building yourself up in that industry that you're in right now. But at the same time, are there opportunities for today's athletes to start to develop relationships so that when they're done, they have the opportunities that you have today?
Oh, definitely. I think more so now than in the past, right? Because everything is so much more open through the media, through social media. Especially what guys want to get into, right? Most guys want to get into more the tech side. They didn't want to get into oil or real estate back then. In those days, that was kind of your option, or some kind of chain. Could be a McDonald's or something. I remember a few guys got into owning some franchises back then, and I think they've done extremely well. But I think we have a hard time understanding that basketball is not forever. If you're lucky, you play 5 years. If you're really lucky, you play 10 years. And if you're extremely lucky, it goes past that. And yes, nowadays you can make a lot of money. But what do you do if you retire at 35? And for most of us, playing, well, a lot of us don't walk away with a college degree, play pros, are probably not qualified for any other job, and have a lifestyle that requires you to make a lot of money. So if you don't walk away from basketball with a portfolio that can sustain that for a lifetime, then you'll have to get a job. And, with no qualifications, you're looking at, maybe somebody giving you an opportunity at $50,000 a year to do something. And that's hard for guys to accept. So the time to develop relationships and opportunities is while you're still playing, while you still have a name and some money, and maybe not put all eggs in one basket, but maybe take a little chunk of something you believe in and you want to be part in, and co-invest with somebody that's has a good reputation, has done well in the past, and is looking out for your best interest.
It's all about not going all in, right? I mean, and diversifying and thinking about that you have this opportunity to just to play a little bit and learn, and that's one of the things I think a lot of guys like you are doing, which is tremendous. I mean, when you think about your career, whether it was in the on the court or even now, were there certain individuals or leaders or people that you've looked up to that have helped you with in your career from an off the court perspective?
From a player standpoint, no, not really. I didn't have any relationships with guys that did stuff off the court, business wise. I think I had great teammates that helped me to become the basketball player I was, and the focus I had and things like that. But not on the business side. I looked for that outside basketball. Again, fortunate enough to have relationships outside of that through neighbors and friends that have been extremely successful, that have done well with large companies or built their own companies. And I just try to take little pieces from them and see who they surrounded themselves with and how they were able to build not just their wealth but their brand and kind of a sustainability for their family.
No, it's super. I mean, and so share with us today, your company today, what it's doing, and what you're looking for, and hopefully there may be ways that we can help each other.
Oh, thanks, Wayne. Yeah, no, I just realized I was talking to somebody a couple of days ago, and they go, "How long have you been at Coldstream?" And I go, "I think almost 13 years." So, again, what we do is we work with families, individuals, and manage their money, but it's more so for what we do. We build lifelong relationships, right? We try to help people live the life they want to live, and I enjoy the part of my job is business development. Again, I don't actively manage money, but I have a brand, I have relationships, I have a network where I can get in front of people, and we're again living in this bubble of Seattle, that is doing still extremely well with all the tech, family businesses and so forth. And to me, it's a really fun way to engage people when when you can listen to where they are in life and what they want to accomplish and where they want to be and what they worry about, and you kind of hear different life stories, and it's some are just amazing, and some are, they think, oh, it's just very, very vanilla, and you keep digging and you find other things. And I love the discovery part. I love the trying to figure out, what the solutions are, prioritize where they should be going. People worry about the future, worry about their kids, and we're there to kind of help that and ease the pain, or have them sleep better at night, so everything else is taken care of. And it's a fun way to engage people because, again, we have some incredible clients from all walks of life.
Yeah, I mean, what you've been doing, and wow, it's amazing. 13 years at Coldstream, I mean, that's a long time, and it's tremendous. I mean, I'm sure that talk about some of your partners there that you work with that run the organization with you. Are they your Gary Paytons? Are they your Shawn Kemps of today?
Yeah, no, we have a great group of employees. We're all we're company owned, so we all have, most of us own parts of the company, shares, and it's a team structure, and that's what I enjoy. We all try to help each other out. But when you're in the service industry, and typically most athletes are not in the service industry. They're more for what about me? So it's definitely a change, because you do what's best for other people, and I enjoy that. We did that with the foundation, and that's really I think we're lifelong where our goals should be. We should improve the lives of others, and so I enjoyed that part. And we have great teams because everyone brings different expertise to the table, and we have good, we don't quite have the same discussions as Gary Payton and myself had in those days. So they're a little bit more civil, and we all have the same goals. It's all about, basically risk management. How do we protect our clients? So it's not about, who we're going to bust up today.
Well, speaking of that, right? I mean, you think about, what it takes, right, to be successful on the court, and what it takes to be successful in the business world. And one of the things that we have a conversation a lot on our 76 Capital Leadership Series is a lot of the same qualities, a lot of the same traits, like the drive, the desire, the being persistent and just going after it, right? And keep moving forward is something that is so important. And once you get, it's like on the court, you get knocked down, you got to get back up. Those are some of the same things that I find are some of the most important traits that entrepreneurs and business people have. Do you find that as well?
Totally. I think, like you said, most entrepreneurs and business people, they've failed. If you have not failed, then I don't think I know you or I've ever heard of you. Same with athletes. I mean, in basketball, if you're a really good shooter, you miss half the time. So you fail half the time. For baseball, it's worse. So it's just, to me, it's you're used to getting knocked down. You're used to failing. You're used to having a bad game. Um, Having a really embarrassing situation on the court. It's happened to everybody. And if you can't take it, you're not going to make it. So that's why I said athletes have a tendency to. I always say, like, if I play golf now and have a really bad hole, and people go, "Oh, that would set me back the rest of the round." I'm gonna go, "What happened?" I'm like, I already forgot about it, because that's the NBA. You have a really bad game. The good thing is tomorrow you play again, you make up for it. So I think you just have that mentality of one. People always have told you that you can't do this or that. And so you overcome that and you show them that you can, and you're going to fail. You're going to get knocked down, and you're going to come back up and go at it again. And I think that's how people are, successful. I always say we're not normal. Successful business people, anybody that's doing something out of the ordinary is not normal. And you have to embrace that. I went to talk to the University of Washington football team, and I go, "What do you guys do?" And regular people don't do. They don't come 6 o'clock for lifting. Then they'll go to 4 classes, and then they come play football, and then they do a film session, and then they have tutoring session. Ask how many regular students want to do that. So you have to embrace that you're not normal.
That's incredible advice. I mean, I'd love to take it even a little bit deeper. There's some specific examples in your career where maybe someone completely doubted you, or was there a situation, whether it was a coach or maybe a newspaper reporter or a commentator or something, that you were like, I'm just going to prove that guy so wrong?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure there was somebody. I know my parents, my dad was like, I picked up basketball, and he goes, "What is that stupid game? You're not good at that. Why you play soccer?" So I don't think that really drove me, though, because it was a different time. Parents were not involved really in sports when I was growing up because they worked. They didn't have time to go to games. Yeah, you hear stuff and people talk about you or reporters, but again, to me, it's I took some of that serious when I was younger. I don't really care anymore. I'm past that. And I know when I was in Dallas, there were some reporters that, again, they questioned why they drafted Sam Perkins over Charles Barkley the year before every day in the paper. And then I came, and then they start questioning why did we draft him over, I think, Karl Malone, right? So I heard that for 2 years. And I was like, I frankly don't care about them anymore, or didn't back then. You make your own name. I always feel like if I give everything I have and try to be as good as I can be with what I have, I don't have to justify it to other people.
Yeah, and one of the other things, it seemed like, just watching you as a player, you look like you had a lot of fun out there on the court. Is that something that was really important to you?
It's the best game in the world. I love basketball. I probably quit playing too late, but as far as playing pickup games and stuff, because it's not meant for older people. I had an orthopedic surgeon tell me, men over 40 are not supposed to play basketball. And that's probably right, because it takes its toll. But it's the best game in the world. If I could still play it today, I would play it every day, because it's just so unique. It's just every moment is different, and I just love what you can do with a basketball.
Well, I'll never forget, just our little time at Hal Rosenbluth's ranch, and I mean, you were shooting from like half court on his place in North Dakota. I mean, the wind was blowing, you were still knocking down those shots. Pretty incredible. And I try to tell my son now that, being 50, and he's like, "Come on, you got to compete, Dad, with me." And I'm like, he's killing me. He's too big, he's too strong. But you're right. I'm going to tell them, you're going to use what you said. If you're 40, you're done playing basketball. That's
It will make your life easier when you're older. There are a lot of miles on this body.
it's amazing. We're really fortunate to have Detlef Schrempf on our 76 Capital Leadership Series. And one of the things that I wanted to touch on before we wrap up was really some of the things that you're doing now in and around the world of trying to make this world a better place, and thinking about some of the things that are, we're in a really tough situation with this terrible pandemic. At the same time, we're dealing with social unrest across the country, and you've stepped up and started to try to make a difference. I'd love to hear about some of the things that you're working on.
Yeah, thank you. We had a foundation for 25 years and pretty much focused towards kids, because when we started it, our kids were little, and we figured, we're going to put all our efforts towards children, and did that for 25 years and closed it down last year. Because you kind of evolve and things change. Now our kids are grown men. We've aged out. Our executive director wanted to retire. We did 25 years of fundraising, and we figured out, okay, what's my next step? So I've taken more leadership roles and mentorship programs for the University of Washington in sports and athletics, and especially basketball. And then COVID happened, and so we got involved with some fundraisers for Children's Hospital, just trying to make sure those kids get taken care of when the parents lose jobs and they can't afford to come and stay at their own McDonald's house or whatever. And then, as you know, George Floyd happened, and the activism really took off. And to give you a little background, and I don't know if you see the shirt here, but this shirt right here, this logo, if you can see it,
there it is.
We've had this logo, this picture, this logo, Erase the Hate, since the 90s, after kind of the LA riots. And two gals, Elena and Paulette, that used to watch our kids back then, came up with this, and we've had T-shirts since then. And and here we are, 25 years later, still talking about the same thing, right? So I took a couple weeks after everything happened, trying to figure out how I can help. I think sitting back and sliding through this is what a lot of people are thinking about is not the right way to go. But I also can't be the face or the voice, but I have a network, I have relationships. I have a Black wife and biracial sons, so I have a little bit of an idea of what we had to tell our kids growing up. But I figured I need other people to be involved, so I reached out to our Seattle community. Jamal Crawford was the first one who says, "Hey, I'm in, dude. Let's do it." He does amazing things in our community. Isaiah Thomas, talked to Bill Russell. And obviously, at his age and health, he's supporting it, but he's not going to be actively doing a whole lot of things. Jimmy Lake, very outspoken, University of Washington football coach, and then we have a local activist, Wyking Garrett, who we started this with. We launched it with. So basically, other people come on board: Macklemore, Pat Monahan, Alicia Clark from the Storm, and what we do is we match donations. So. And for the causes, obviously, that we think are important. One, obviously, is about voting. So we want to make sure everyone gets out there and votes, because if you have issues with what's happening nowadays, you got to take some form of activity. Either it's by donating to the causes you want to support, but definitely by voting, by your activism, by volunteering. You can't sit back and complain and then not do any of those things. So we want to make sure people have a way to do those, right? They can definitely vote. They can support the charities that work or work against voter suppression and things like that. Get people out to vote in certain states where it's a little harder. and then also support the charities that really fight for racial justice and equality for all. And I think we all can, do that right now. And if we can't do it now, after what's happening right now, I'm not sure we ever will. So, I choose to be active in this and not sit back. And I hope more people will join.
Well, I think it's incredible what you're doing, and my whole team at 76 Capital does as well. And we're gonna support Erase the Hate. We're excited to do that, and just really want to thank you for the work that you're doing now, to try to make this world a better place. And we agree with you. I agree with you. I mean, like the fact that if this is the time, this is the time. If there's ever been a time, and we've got to try to make this world a better place. We've got to figure out a way we unite our and just come together at this point. It's 2020. Come on. It's ridiculous that it hasn't happened. And it's a pretty incredible. 25 years ago, to hear that you had that logo and that T-shirt, that's an incredible story, Detlef.
Yeah, thanks. Unfortunately, we still have it, right? We still have to talk about the same issues, and like I said, every day we gotta keep plugging along. So, and it's actually incredible to see the responses, and it's also incredible to see the ignorance that's out there in the world, because social media, it's almost like people want to be seen, and they also can't hide anymore, and it's kind of sad where we are as a country with how many people are uneducated. And I think that's the next thing we have to focus on, is education on all levels for everyone, because the ignorance is still there.
It is. Well, but thanks to people like you and your organization, looking to really just erase the hate, create, hopefully have equality for all, is something that is an incredible thing that you're doing. And again, I just want to thank you for what you're doing now. Thanks for coming on our 76 Capital Leadership Series, and wishing you and your family a lot of health and stay safe during these times as well.
Thanks so much for having me, Wayne, and best to you, and be safe.
Absolutely. Well, this has been great. We've had Detlef Schrempf as our guest on our 76 Capital Leadership Series. You can follow Detlef and all the things that he's doing, trying to make this world a better place, on Twitter. You see it's D Schrempf. Follow him there and learn about the things that he's doing, support his causes, do all the things that we all know is the right thing to do, and try to make this world a better place. You can follow all the things that we do on 76 Capital. And me, you can follow me at Wayne at Wayne Kimmel across the internet, as well as on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And please feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel to see all the great interviews that we do. That includes, Detlef's interview and many more that we've done on our 76 Capital Leadership Series. Hope everybody stays safe and has a really great day. Thanks for joining us.